Hey, it's Connor English hopping on today to chat about our new Perennial Rejuvenation cover, new for Covers & Co. in 2025. The Rejuvenation cover is developed to be utilized in worn-out pastures, land bases that are in marginal areas, maybe that equipment can't be brought into to break up into annual cropping, and just looking to add some more diversity to a stand. The major thing with this Rejuvenation cover is it's going to be put into an existing sod pasture for most parts. So patience, time, and a change in management styles are going to be absolutely key in order to get these species established into your pasture stands. For the most part, marginal acres that this blend will be going into, either in a direct seeding or in a broadcasting environment, we're going to have to change our management practices from what we've been doing in years past in order to see any change in this environment. A little bit of the breakdown on what we've got in it. We've got 4 forms of alfalfa, all different root structures other than the falcata and creeping root, both being creeping root species. Sandfoin, Sicer milkvetch, red clover and sweet clover, birdsfoot trefoil, and chicory. So establishment. We've developed this blend to be utilized in a few different ways. Direct seeding or broadcast seeding can both be utilized depending on the pasture stand and what the landscape is like. If marginal acres are in there and equipment can't be brought in, something like a spin spreader or a drone could be a good tool in order to get the seeds out on the landscape. If you have the opportunity to get equipment in there and direct seed this blend into the ground, I think right off the bat you're going to be in a better position to get some establishment. Just as we're getting seeds into the ground and into good seed to soil contact. We've got 2 different seeding rates that we suggest for this blend. 5 pounds to the acre, likely being utilized in a direct seeding environment when we're getting the seeds directly into the ground with good seed to soil contact. This rate could also be used if producers are a little on the leery side of things for how many legumes could show up in the stand. If it's a lower management styled practice, lower management on the pasture management side of things, and not wanting too many legumes showing up if good germination happens, you might want to go at a reduced seeding rate just to ensure that you're going to have lots of grasses regardless. The 10 pounds an acre seeding rate is definitely suggested if broadcasting. Just the seed to soil contact is so important to get any of these species established. So adding a few more seeds per acre out there definitely just increases that chance of more seeds making it down to the soil layer and germinating at some point throughout the year. Drier environments also might look to seed a little heavier, just with not as many frequent rainfalls. Any chance at all for a seed to be in the ground and get established, might just want to have more species just to increase our chances. In an intensive grazing environment, 10 pounds to the acre could also be utilized. Producers that are utilizing intensive management might want more quality out there, higher percentage of legumes that won't put their system at risk by any means. 1 to 2 year expectations. Like I stated at the start of the video, patience is going to be absolutely key. I had a really good conversation with a producer that has done lots of broadcast seeding in the past into existing sod pastures. And he said getting the seed out on the land base is the first step, and being patient afterwards is the next one. It might be a weather event, livestock trampling, frost event, high rain event. Something will pull the seeds into the ground, but without it, we're not going to have any success at all. So we could see we've got 1 to 2 years for expectation here. There might be great germination in year 1 or 2, or it might be 3 or 4 years before some producers see significant germination levels of some of these species. The whole main goal out here is we're attacking marginal acres that haven't been broke for cash cropping in the past, or not suitable for equipment to get into, but needing a bump in diversity and plant biomass. The whole main goal is to completely change what's growing out in these pastures. We're going to have lots of patience and just work with Mother Nature on this one to try and get it to work. Management practices are going to need to be changed depending on your scenario. If something's not working in that field already, there's a very good chance that just adding seeds to the mix will not change anything either. Usually it'd be longer recoveries, difference in our density of grazings, maybe our intensity of grazings, could really help the pasture out more than anything. Obviously, with the addition of more seeds, that could give it potential to really boost production. We've got this slide up here. Expectation is we put a bunch of seeds out, we're going to see a big flush of alfalfas and Sicer and Sandfoin all in year one. Where in reality, it's going to be a long journey and a lot of things are going to have to change, as well as having a lot of patience in order to reach that end goal of a really diverse, high productive pasture. Management styles. Biggest thing with this is going to be a mindset change. Whether it be your grazing activity, maybe cows go to pasture every year, June 15th. After spreading something like this onto the land base, maybe that needs to be changed till August 1st that they enter this pasture, or July 1st. Just changing, breaking the cycles a little bit in what's been happening in that pasture in years past, just to give more species a chance to get up and get going. Obviously, these small seeds that we're adding to this environment are going to have a lot of competition against the already established grass stands that will be predominantly out in the landscapes. So it's going to take quite a bit of time to get up and get going. Long rest and recovery followed by high intensive grazing management, I feel will be one of the best management styles to utilize in this environment. If we can take off whatever biomass we have there at a very high percentage, and then allow that ground to recover for as long as possible, giving all the small seedlings a chance to get up and get going and really establish themselves in the perennial stand for years to come. Going to overview of the plant species that we've selected to have in this blend. Our first of 4 alfalfas is a creeping root alfalfa coming in at 8% of the mix. It's got a really good ability to withstand pressure from grasses. It's got a creeping root, so it really covers the ground once established. Provides much better ground cover than what a taproot would, just in the root structure. Really high quality feed. The branch-rooted alfalfa, 8% of the mix, performs really well in wet environments as it stretches its root system out over the landscape, utilizing high water table soils. So could work really well in some wetter marginal acres. Taprooted alfalfa, highly used in many perennial hay and pasture settings across Western Canada. Really high feed quality and the potential to reach down deep into those marginal acres or really sandy, drier acres that don't have much for moisture up on the top layers. Falcata alfalfa coming in at 10%. Really excited to start utilizing this yellow blossom alfalfa. It's a creeping root. It's got a really high leaf to stem ratio. There's been many ranchers across Canada and into the US that have utilized this yellow blossom alfalfa for many years after it's established in a stand. It holds on to its quality after flowering or the maturity state much longer than most of the purple blossom alfalfas, and that's one of the main reasons we have it at the highest percent out of the alfalfas. It thrives in environments such as Western Canada, and I think it's overall going to be a really positive addition to lots of our pasture stands moving forward. Sandfoin, it's a non-bloating legume, increased digestibility over alfalfa just because of the more desirable stems on the Sandfoin plant, and it has the ability in some cases across Western Canada to hold on to its leaves, which in turn will have a better stockpiled quality product over alfalfa. Bird's foot trefoil, another non-bloating legume. It's really highly adaptable to its environment. It has the great opportunity of staying vegetative after hitting maturity levels. It doesn't all hit maturity all at once. It's kind of an intermediate maturing plant where it takes many days or many weeks to fully hit maturity, which just helps out on the quality side of things. Sicer milk vetch, one of my favorite legumes in a perennial pasture setting. It's a non-bloat. It has absolutely excellent stockpiling qualities. We've had lots of experience utilizing Sicer milk vetch on my farm in the past, and it really allows us to hold quality late into the fall or early in the spring in a perennial pasture stockpiling event. The leaves on a Sicer milk vetch plant will stay green and vegetative late into the fall months after maturing even in August. If we have Sicer milk vetch hit maturity, say in late July or August, there is without a doubt we will see good quality leaves well into November in most perennial settings. This species especially does very well in long rest and recovery environments. Sweet clover is a very interesting plant. It comes in at 12% of the mix. It's got some crazy potential on biomass, especially in years where other species aren't doing as well. In the past, we've seen sweet clover as kind of a successor plant in some of our pasture stands, whether it be significantly dry periods in time or really wet periods as well for that matter. It comes in when other species might be struggling. A few years ago, we had some really drought conditions and sweet clover helped us get through the summer. Its deep taproot was able to tap into some of the moisture levels at a deeper soil profile and put on really good biomass that we can consume at high rates with our cattle. Red clover comes in at 14% of the mix. The red clover adds a really cool characteristic as it has an enzyme in it that allows the plants to be broke down in the abomasum and not the rumen. This allows the protein to be digested more efficiently. The abomasum in a ruminant utilizes protein at a much higher rate than the rumen does, which adds value to this red clover mix in a ruminant grazed pasture setting. It grows really well in shaded environments, kind of on the underneath layer of the canopy, and really good addition for red clover. Have had a ton of success with red clover species across Western Canada. Chicory, another really deep-rooted plant, completely different flowering species onto the profile of a pasture. Chicory has been quite hit or miss across the prairie provinces in the past. It's got potential for a very large leaves at the base of the plant and the stem can reach up quite high to be a successor for sunlight. To learn more about the Pasture Rejuvenation blend, please feel free to check out our website under the Pasture Rejuvenation tab. We've got lots of information there regarding seeding practices and how to utilize this blend in your stand. And we highly suggest that producers that are interested in utilizing this reach out to a territory manager or a dealer near you, just so we can have a conversation and make sure you're set up for success in your environment.